You had 100+ days to work on Dan Wilhite. What crystallized from that introspection for you?
Well, I came to hit a wall that, was kind of bounded by the loss of a marriage, um, the loss of a number of my colleagues that I worked with because they financially were upside down with City doing what it did. Being in an environment where we felt like we were not really valued, in any number of reasons. And, I really don't want to, get into the negative elements, but the inside of me, I knew, Leo, that there was a little voice inside of me that said, Dan, you got to do something different. Dan, you've got to do something differently. And, in listening to that voice, I had been intrigued by the concept of, of getting away for a long time, because Donaldson, Lufkin, and Rhett back in the day had a requirement that anybody that was a managing director in any 10-year period had to take one 2-month sabbatical. The consistent, and then they had to generate a report when they got back saying what they learned. I always was intrigued by all that. And, the consistent message was, you can't really do this in 60 days, right? You need 90 days or 120 days. And so I just decided, I was at an inflection point in my life. I'd experienced a ton of success and had grown things, exponentially. Been really part of some great success with the advisors and clients that we worked with. But my values were not, I didn't feel like I was living my values. And so I got away, and I did. There were 3 things on my bucket list there's about 10 things on my bucket list that I had not done at that point. And one of those was to go to Argentina and spend the better part of a month there. I went for 2 weeks with some buddies, and we went fishing and hunting, and then I cruised around for another 10 days or so, just by myself, riding buses with the locals and improving my Spanish, albeit not even close to Portuguese. Getting to a place where I could communicate. It's a beautiful country. The fishing is fabulous. Leo, you know this. Others will not, but I love the sport of fly fishing. I find the best part about that is it's free form. While there's some rules how you need to do it and do it right, the whole job is to just get out there and get it done. And it's mind numbing because it frees your mind to really focus on just the moment. And I found that, in the preceding years, I had a really hard time focusing on the moment. I was wound up tighter than a $2 watch. I found myself instead of being a human being, I found myself being a human doing.
Wow.
You mentioned those words earlier. You were doing this and doing that, and I was doing a lot, but I was doing a lot with not much meaning to it. And I found that I needed to get away to do that. So I went to Argentina. I spent, one of my goals was to spend 30 days in the Rockies and drive the length of the Rockies from New Mexico all the way to the Canadian border. And I did that, just me and my dog. And for one long weekend, one of my sons came to join me in Wyoming. It was probably the happiest I had been in 20 years.
Wow.
I loved it. I loved every minute of it. I experienced so much, and I came away with a new appreciation for life. And I came away with some great memories. Some of those memories were with my son, and my son is now deceased, as you know. And, just looking back at those moments with my son today, they're irreplaceable. They will never, ever, they're etched in my memory forever. The way he fell out of a boat into 55-degree water in the river in Montana, and where my dog chased fish every time I caught one on the line. He was scared to death of the water because of the roaring sound until he found out there were fish in there, and all of a sudden he came to life. His hunting instinct took over. It was just beautiful. So, like, I didn't sleep out, in the stars every night, but 2 or 3 nights a week I would be camping out under the stars. And while it's a little bit scary, if you know that there's bears in the country, I had my dog with me, and his perceptive abilities were extraordinary, and I had some bear spray, so I didn't worry about it.
I wonder if if the dog was scared more than you did. I wonder.
Maybe
Maybe so. You were expecting some assistance from your dog. Your dog was probably thinking the same thing about you.
And he knew that he could outrun me, so he would not be dinner for the
yeah. What life? Yeah, I'm sorry, Dan. It was the third thing.
The third thing I did was I knew that I wanted to go on a couple of week mission trip, and so I went to Cuba. And Leo, I have to tell you that I had no idea how some of the rest of the world lived. I had no idea that 27% of the women in Havana that are under 30 years old are prostitutes because they have no other choice but to make a living in a horrible economy. I had no idea that the average wage in the country was $12 a month. And if you were a physician, you made $18 a month. But by the way, if you were a physician, you don't have any drugs. You can't treat anybody. Yet these people were some of the happiest people I've ever met, and they had been through so much. There'd been a hurricane down there the year preceding when we went, and we spent about a week, rebuilding the church. Literally, the walls had been built, but the roof had come completely off, and so we did all that, and worked really hard and had a great time, and connected with our Cuban friends in a really good way.